The stolen dream. Marcus Keller had everything he thought he'd wanted: an impressive job, a high-rise apartment with a stunning view of the city, and the kind of bank account that could make people feel secure. But something gnawed at him, something hard to explain. It was a hollowness, a feeling that something vital was missing. The strange thing was that Marcus couldn't remember the last time he dreamed. Each night, he'd fall asleep only to wake up hours later, as if no time had passed. No visions, no fragments. Nothing but an unsettling void. Over the years, he'd learned to shrug it off, blaming it on stress or exhaustion. But lately, the absence of dreams felt more significant, like a wound that wouldn't heal. One evening, at a company gala, Marcus found himself at a floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the city lights. He was lost in thought when a voice interrupted. "Beautiful view, isn't it?" He turned to see a man standing nearby, older, with tired eyes but an air of mystery about him. There was something familiar in the stranger's face, something unsettlingly wise. "Yes," Marcus replied. "I suppose it is." The man didn't smile. He just nodded thoughtfully. Strange to look at something so bright and feel so empty, though, isn't it? Marcus stiffened. The man's words cut straight through him, too close to thoughts he'd never voiced aloud. Sorry, do we know each other?" The stranger's eyes sparkled with something that wasn't amusement. "In a way, yes. I know you better than you think." Marcus. A chill ran down his spine. "Who are you?" The man extended a hand. "Call me Darius. Let's say I'm someone who's been watching." Feeling both wary and intrigued, Marcus shook his hand. Darius' grip was strong, his skin rough. There was something oddly reassuring about his presence, as if he had known Marcus all his life. "I have to ask," Marcus said, almost feeling silly. "Why can't I? Why don't I dream anymore?" Darius' eyes darkened, and he nodded as if he'd expected the question. "Do you remember the moment you first tasted real success? That rush? That feeling that you'd finally made it?" Marcus thought back. He remembered his first big promotion, the thrill of accomplishment, the celebration that followed. That was around the time he'd stopped dreaming. It was almost like one feeling had replaced the other. "Success comes with a price," Darius said, reading Marcus's mind. "Sometimes, we give up parts of ourselves without even realizing it. But dreams?" Marcus whispered, barely able to voice his confusion. Darius looked at him with something close to pity. "Dreams are powerful. They're windows to your inner self, to memories, to possibilities. But they're also burdens. Some people willingly trade them, especially if they're offered something in return: wealth, power, success. And once the trade is made, well, dreams become a luxury."
Marcus felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. "You're saying I traded my dreams? For what? Money? Security?" Darius nodded. "You may not remember doing it, but yes. You've been given all the success you wanted, but your dreams were taken as payment." It felt absurd, impossible, but something in his gut told him it was true. He'd been so focused on building his life, climbing the ladder, that he hadn't noticed what he was losing along the way. "Can I get them back?" Marcus asked, feeling more desperate than he intended. Darius's gaze was intense. "It's possible, but getting back what you traded isn't without risk." "Risk of what?" "You'd be giving up pieces of the life you've built. Money, status, comfort. You'd have to let go of everything you think you need." Marcus glanced around at the lavish room, the sparkling crowd, the expensive wine. He'd spent so many years chasing after this lifestyle, but now he wasn't even sure why. "If I want to do this, how?" Darius pulled a small, weathered notebook from his coat and handed it to Marcus. "Go to these places. You'll meet others who've traded parts of themselves. Some gave up their passions, their memories, even their voices. Each place will help you remember what you gave up and why." Marcus took the notebook, his hand shaking. Each entry was a place he recognized, parts of the city he knew well but hadn't visited in years. "Will I really dream again?" he asked, barely daring to hope. Darius's expression softened. "If you find what you lost, yes. But remember, dreams are not always pleasant. Some of what you'll see might haunt you. It's a hard path, Marcus." With that, Darius turned and disappeared into the crowd. Marcus clutched the notebook, a strange feeling of resolve taking root. He knew he couldn't keep living like this, chasing an empty dream of success while his soul felt hollow. The first location in the notebook was a small, forgotten cafe. As he entered, memories surfaced: old friends, laughter, a time when life felt vivid. He hadn't thought of those days in years. He spoke with the cafe's owner, an elderly woman who'd traded her own dreams long ago for stability. Her eyes held a sorrow he recognized, a regret buried under years of quiet acceptance. Each place he visited unlocked a new part of his past. A forgotten art gallery where he'd once aspired to be a painter, a bridge where he'd proposed to a woman he'd loved but lost, a jazz club where he'd once imagined a different life. With each visit, he felt pieces of himself returning. The dreams were hard, vivid, intense, and sometimes disturbing, but they made him feel alive. Over time, Marcus's life shifted. He left his high-powered job, moved out of the fancy apartment, and took up painting again. His bank account dwindled, but he didn't mind. He'd found something richer, a connection to himself he hadn't known was possible.
And one night, as he drifted off to sleep, a dream washed over him, a vivid, beautiful scene that felt both familiar and new. When he woke up, he was smiling. For the first time in years, he felt whole again.